Hello, welcome to another episode of Daily Market Mastery with me, Rauchenwald, on this sunny Wednesday. I hope you all had a great week so far. As always, before we jump into the markets, let's get the usual disclaimer out of the way first. Everything that I share in today's live stream / video is my personal opinion and in no way financial or professional advice of any kind. You should always do your own research, consult certified professionals, draw your own conclusions, and make your own decisions. And besides that, all the tools that I'm using so that you see through this live stream / video, the broker, the charting software, the strategy I'm following and so on are all linked in the video description down below. And the one thing I always recommend if you haven't done so is go and check out the Elliott Wave principle that you can read online for free when you're using the link in the description down below. And with that, we can jump straight into it. Hi, Olga, great to have you here. I hope you had a great rest of your Tuesday and a good start into Wednesday as well. I saw that Chinese markets have been dropping. So yesterday, Hong Kong markets, and today apparently Chinese markets. So after, obviously, they're still, at least the Hong Kong markets are up quite a lot still if you look for the last month period. So it seems like a natural correction. Yeah, my portfolio, as you can see, we're starting pretty much break even again. So with a slight red number to start the day. Yeah, like not sure how much we'll have to cover today. Novavax, the one play that I think is going to be the most promising or best one in the near future. So big picture, you can check out the stream from 2 days ago where actually I went through the entire labeling again. And small picture, just focusing, let's zoom out again to make it clear what we're focusing on. Just looking at this part here, or more precisely actually this movement here. Yep. My China Hong Kong exposure wants to rocket still. That's nice. Yeah, so what do we have here? Just looking at the last part, we assume that we have basically the beginning of an impulsive wave that either is 1, 2, 3, and now wave 4, almost retracing 78.6%, which is what Kennedy channeling technique would point towards. However, we also have the option that we had a truncated or a shorter truncated fifth wave, and that we're currently retracing the entire flow here, in which case we retrace 61.8%. Now, Kennedy channeling technique would suggest that we actually only finished wave 3 here, and that is actually wave 4, and we're now getting wave 5. However, the retracement levels, so especially if we consider that here our wave 2 retraced 38.2%, almost on the dot, and rule of alternation would suspect that wave 4 then retraces 61.8. Yeah, scratch that since that comparison doesn't stand, since again, like if this is entire 5-wave impulse, then we would retrace 61.8% till here, and we would be good to go further up now. If this is only 1, 2, 3, and 4, we also should be fine here and should go further up now. We already can see that today it looks like we are going to get some movement. Question is which way it's going to be in the end. We saw, yeah, like a decent candle up here. Now something, yeah, slightly red, but started with a green wick. Super bullish on all my long-term Asia investments. Yeah, I'm curious, what are you holding in Asia? If you want to share something, maybe we have time to look into 1 or 2 of them. I think the only Chinese thing that I have any exposure, or Asian thing that I have any exposure to right now, would be NIO. And there I'm also super bullish long-term. Yeah, so Novavax, I mean, visually it's possible that we finished a small 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulse right now here, in which case we would get a little red, but we shouldn't go lower than 1282 at all and go further up from here. Yeah, so as said, I think we're in this destination channel for the 5th wave, and we would expect to reach at least the $15 mark in that flow. And overall, based on the bigger picture, still my prediction stands that we will reach or should reach the $29 to $59 mark in the next couple of months as well. Yeah, so I guess there is not much that changed here. Yeah, we see some stronger movement, or at least we saw some stronger movement. We're going to keep an eye and circle back then later to see if maybe something important happened. So in terms of movement, but for now we're just going to move on. GameStop slightly red for the day, so we are still waiting to get our confirmation either way, to either get our break to the bottom to confirm that we at least will reach the $18 mark, or on the bigger picture to confirm that we might reach the $15 mark before to finish the corrective pattern, or to get a break to the top to confirm. So here going higher than 25.24. Hi Akashi, great to have you here. To confirm that we're going or breaking to the upside and that the correction actually finished with that low that we had here at 1756. Yeah, then Advanced and Noble Education. There we might, I mean, we're still waiting for a push down into the 845 area, or between 8 and 845. Again, we covered that excessively. Yeah, on an 8-hour chart, it obviously is going to take time. So while there could be a move today, it obviously is more likely that we're still going to have a couple of days left to see it happen, or to move the other way and with that prove me wrong. And Immersion. There we had yesterday the break to the bottom, which was a little bit annoying. Now visually that looks like it might be 1, 2, 3, 4, so there should still be another push to finish a potential last impulse and finish the correction. We're now obviously below the 61.8 retracement level. We also broke through the 100% expansion level. There's still room down in quotes before the pattern would get invalid, but we left the area that I thought would be the ideal turnaround area. What's Jardin Matheson? So for people watching the recording, so, and Sanhan Kai, yeah. I guess China gas is definitely not that bad. So like considering that they use a lot of, what's the word? Fossil fuels, yeah. So shouldn't be too bad, and considering how much power they need and probably growing power demand. So, and Beijing Enterprises don't know, obviously Shanghai Industrial also don't know, and so on, but at least there I know where they supposedly are, so doesn't seem too bad there. Yeah, I mean, they can't do much wrong, yeah, in most cases. So unless there is some huge scandal, although China is a little bit tricky in my opinion because of their government involvement. So where basically if you don't toe to the party line, yeah, your business might suffer as well. Yeah. Moving on. So costs, yeah, unchanged. Still waiting for the break of the 50% line to be proven wrong, or a decent move upwards to be proven right and confirm that the correction actually ended back here. NEO, since we mentioned it. NEO actually broke through the 100% line that we would expect here. I mean, I already got out of NEO. Yeah, I don't actually have any NEO exposure. I just realized because we got out here. There was the chance, as I mentioned, that the correction is over here, so that we're just correcting 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll get a push 5. But before that, the reason why we got out was because it looked like we finished 1, 2, 3. We bounced at the 538.2 extension level and should now be in wave 4. Now that wave 4 almost retraced, no, already retraced 38.2%. We're still within the maximum expected drop, so it's possible that we get the bottom here for that corrective move, so that this will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Also using Kennedy channeling technique, we are now confirmed in wave 4 because we had the break to the bottom of the channel, which means using Kennedy channeling technique we could now add a deceleration trend line that technically would need to be like this, and only once we break that to the top would we be confirmed in wave 5. Which is a little tricky because it means missing on some upside for the entry. Personally, as far as entries go, so since in my opinion, we're retracing this third wave here, which means entries would make sense at 584, 535, 490, and then potentially, if one wants to throw a Hail Mary at 432, stop loss would need to be at 368. That would be if we indeed have a wave 1, 2, and this was a third wave, then wave 4 shouldn't even enter the territory of wave 1 unless we're looking at the diagonal, but it should never reach below the 0.2 here. If that happens, pattern invalid. That obviously means almost 50% risk here. From where we are right now to down to where the stop loss would need to be. But on the other hand, then the upside, I know we have a lot of stuff here on the chart, so let's rearrange a few things. So that here already happened. We exceeded the 100% target line marginally for this wave 3, 4, 5, and which means then what we can throw on the chart would be another expansion. So based on if that's based on here, and then the question will be where wave 4 ends. So if our correction actually is only ABC to the 38.2 retracement line, then we would now get target areas for wave 5 between $9.15 and $12. So that's like 50 to 100%. So the risk reward ratio is 1 to 1 or 1 to 2. So I think Novavax is the better play. I mean, I might be proven wrong. Time will tell. But I think Novavax is the better play. But other than that, NEO definitely also has a decent pattern where one could say, okay, entering in that range, 38.2 to 61.8 retracement for the third wave move, for then a potential fifth wave move. Now, even if we retrace down to 490 for that, what I assume is the fourth wave, we can see that our target area would still be between $7 and $10.31 then. I mean, it means waiting it out and hoping not to be completely wrong, of course. But overall, it would still point towards a profitable trade with a decent payoff. So even if it takes a year to play out, so one would enter right now because we already touched the 38.2 level, for example, but then we would go down further to the 61.8 retracement level, and then from there, eventually we would then get our fifth wave. So as I said, even if it takes a year to play out, the return would still be decent for a year. So right now we're going to assume that we finished our correction here. Doesn't have to be, but we're going to live by that assumption right now. And that one we can also remove. That's for this third wave retracement, where we traced 38.2% as well. The only thing that points towards a further retracement is that very often a corrective wave will retrace into the area of wave 4 of the previous impulse wave of a lower degree. So the previous impulse wave of this wave 4 would be this wave 3, and the lower degree would be basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So which means the wave 4 area would be between here and here. That would point towards getting a retracement to the 61.8 area. So that's the one thing that points towards, considering the low here is pretty much exactly where we have the 61.8 area. That would point towards, more room down. So what's that then? 20% down further to finish the correction before we go up. So if somebody were to enter right now, I probably would enter only with a small position and plan to increase that position at the 61.8 retracement, because either that correction will only be 38.2%, and we go up from here, so we're already done with it, or might get a low push still one more time, or that correction is going to be 61.8%. Or option number 3, I'm going to be completely wrong. Let's actually do something we haven't done in a while. Let's ask the magic 8 ball. Is wave 4 in NEO already over? Signs point to yes. So not sure if it's shorts finally covering to exit. Okay, Vata I don't have on the list here. What's the ticker for Vata? But I hope my chat still updates. Vata. Let's take a look. Now my chat switched to here, or both. So okay, now I have to. Just leave with it. So cannot do the chat highlight anymore where it flies into the screen. But I guess it doesn't matter for the people that are watching. It's just nice for the recordings. While we wait and see if we get a chart to load, so something off topic. Spent the last couple of days, actually already last couple of weeks, Irina and I were discussing that we're going to move away from our current email marketing solution, ActiveCampaign, because they increased their prices and dropping, I don't know, $300, $400, $500 per month for sending emails just seems excessive. Especially, I mean, we have a list with 25,000 subscribers, so from YouTube channel and our software business and whatnot, but we don't spam people with emails, so which makes it the paying by the subscriber number makes it expensive compared to what we actually get out of it or do with that. Okay, it doesn't seem like we get data here, so yeah. And I've spent the last couple of weeks actually looking into alternatives, and I found one called Mailcoach that you can set up VATI for OTC. Okay, but we can check. Move ticker, just have to look past the microphone. Yeah, found Mailcoach and set it up. Okay, you say Vari1 on EBIS. Where's the stupid icon? Var1. Yeah, that doesn't. No, that's now VAR-T. Huh? Okay, so it was showing the other one, yeah. Yeah, that doesn't look good. Like, I mean, one could gamble that the correction is over here, but on first glance, oh, come on. I mean, we can see that we have a move here, wave 1, 2, yeah? Now, question is, where is wave 3 done? So we bounce here, D4618, we bounce here, D5618, and probably if we add more levels here, yeah, so are they going private? So there's a set price for, oh no, Google, yeah. I mean, it's nice that you, so just like with Twitter, basically. Just checking. Wasn't Porsche the one that wants to buy them or so, because they were about to go to file bankruptcy otherwise? So not Porsche, but Vata. Yeah, Porsche. Yep. And there was basically yeah, now you shared already. Porsche taking over. So I just was on the Google screen, yeah. So yeah, I read that. Yeah, that basically the issue was that I saw on the finance subreddit that a few people were like in quotes complaining that like, so if you hold the shares, you get nothing, yeah, in quotes. But Porsche can buy it at a discount. So some debt has to be forgiven. And then people were explaining, which obviously makes sense, that if Porsche doesn't buy, then company goes broke and you as a shareholder get nothing because they cannot cover the debt. If Porsche buys and some of the debt is forgiven, you also get nothing, but the company still exists, yeah. But based on the pattern, I mean, if we were to apply Elliott Wave here, it looks like we haven't finished the correction downwards yet, yeah. So like, obviously, once they're private, that doesn't matter anymore, but I wouldn't expect them to be profitable even as a private business then anytime soon, simply based on how the chart developed here, yeah. But yeah, sure, right now with the Porsche takeover, there is then obviously people gambling. It's a decent move, yeah. I mean, almost 100% basically since yesterday. But also a risky move, yeah. Anyway, we're not gonna keep an eye on that anymore. So yeah, thanks for sharing it. Always nice to look into things that are moving strongly. We already had costs. NEO, we covered NEO, yeah, and Novavax we covered. Then we're waiting. But that's gonna be interesting. So here our low point is 1283. So we still have a valid pattern of basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that would need to be the correction of basically A, B, C, although we trace 99%. So very likely we might break that point here and actually go a little lower, yeah. So I mean, whenever we retrace past the 78.6 retracement level, in my opinion, becomes more likely. I'm not sure if you need to cover it. I mean, yeah, if they get taken over, then yes, yeah, probably. I'm honestly not sure how that is handled. So if the company would go bankrupt, then you wouldn't have to, and get delisted, then you wouldn't have to close because the shares just become worthless, which means you don't have to buy them back. Or technically, you, in theory, you buy them back for zero because they are worthless, which then, yeah. And if there is a takeover like that, I'm not sure how it is handled. Yeah, like, so because Porsche buys it for a set price, but only if the, what's the English word for it? The creditors agree to take a cut on their entitlements, Forderungen, yeah. And in that case, it basically would automatically transfer the shares that you own for that set fixed price to Porsche. And if I'm short, yeah, then you would have to close, actually, if that's how. I mean, I'm really not sure about the exact flow, yeah. I'm not, if they buy the debt, then they wouldn't own the company. Then they would just be the new creditors. And then you as a shareholder would still hold your shares, and the company would still head towards bankruptcy, and Porsche would have no benefit in forgiving the debt. So it might be that Porsche pays the debt, yeah. So that kind of like the deal is, okay, we pay the debt, so we buy and we pay the debt, but only if you take that haircut on the debt, yeah, which is then technically buying the debt. So I give you 50 cents on the dollar, and then technically it's my debt, but since I also take the company, I don't care about it, yeah. I don't think a short squeeze like that is likely in that case, you know. Like, I mean, with the Volkswagen squeeze, you had that Porsche basically announced, hey, we own 95% or something like that in that direction, and there just were not any shares available. So like a really small number of short positions that have to close just caused the catalyst to explode, or serve as a catalyst. I don't know the numbers there, yeah. But the really interesting question is, how is it handled in terms of do you have to actually buy back the shares if you have a short position or not? So, because eventually if they privatize it, so if Porsche takes it over, then it would get delisted. And then the question would be, maybe, you know, like, for example, if I borrow shares from you and sell them short, yeah, and then there's a dividend issued, then I get the dividend because I technically hold the share. No, I don't, because I already sold it, so somebody else gets the dividend. But I also would have to pay the dividend to you, yeah, because you just borrowed me the share. So while I get the dividend, you get it in lieu, or however it's pronounced, yeah, from me. Now, maybe it works the same way when it gets delisted and I borrowed shares from you, that I will just have to pay whatever the price is that Porsche pays for the shares, or for the company as a whole, in quotes, to you, which would then have which means I wouldn't have to close. I would just pay you just like I pay you for a dividend, and it would have zero impact or zero buy pressure. So, but I'm not sure either way. But an interesting situation that doesn't happen often enough to bother. No, like, if you recall the shares, you receive the dividends directly, but if you don't recall them, I have to pay the dividend to you. So you don't get, it's not a dividend, then it's a payment from me, and as far as taxes go, it's different, yeah, because it's not a dividend payment, it's called differently, but you still get the dividend. So but the point is, I pay it to you, and if it works in a similar way in this case, so because there's gonna be a price that Porsche says, okay, we buy for this price per share, which then sums up to that and that many millions or billions, yeah. So if I don't close my short position on the last trading day, trading second, whatever, it would be forcefully, I would be forced to return my shares to you, so that those shares then go to Porsche, yeah. And which means it would close out at the price that was agreed upon with Porsche, and which means since you don't get that from Porsche because I had your share, I will have to pay that to you, but it would have no buying pressure or impact on the price. Yeah, so I mean, obviously that's just pure speculation on my side that it could work like this. Then you wouldn't have to close, because even if you would have to close, if you don't close, then there's going to be the last trading day, and then it's going to be closed for you, and which means it will be, I don't know how many seconds or hours before official market close, which means then the impact would be relatively small. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'll learn it along the way somewhere. Let's move on a little bit. So we covered COS, we covered NEO, we covered Novavax. Novavax, I said, I think, although I will not like it, but I think we will get to see the break here, which would then point towards, actually that would then point towards just wave 4 not being finished. Yeah, I'm not going to speculate on that right now. We're actually going to wait and see how it plays out. So we're going to see tomorrow, either we break through this and then we have to wonder how this wave or this corrective wave actually subdivides, where I got it wrong, or we're gonna not break through it and basically move sideways or move upwards or so and have our confirmation. However, I'm going to zoom out a little bit for a second. So yeah, not much changed here. So zero, A, B, C, D, E. 5 waves up. Correction down. Yeah. Yeah, I think on the overall picture, not much changed. So even if we break the line to the bottom, zooming out further, but we'll have to check and keep an eye on it, especially then during the next couple of days. Still think it's the most enticing play for the next couple of months. Unless I'm proving wrong, then it's going to be a disaster, but it at least looks attractive. Now, moving on, let's check NVIDIA, where we hit, what do we have on the chart here? Oh, our base channel, our new one. So we assume that this, so we have a big wave 1, 2 potentially, and we have another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for wave 1, A, B, C for wave 2, and would now be forming wave 3, where we're waiting for the breakout from this base channel. Now, right now we are bouncing from this channel, which means we potentially will get an ABC correction. And after that, if the pattern holds and I didn't overlook something along the way, we should then see another strong development up here. So right now we are potentially retracing this entire move, which means we would expect the 127 to 122 mark, but probably only the 127 if we're in a third wave. So we would expect stronger movement in the third wave overall. So it's going to be also interesting to watch. We don't need that one anymore. And yeah, then there would be quite some upside further. But again, like, I mean, doesn't make a huge difference if we consider the potential upside, if we enter here or if we were to enter here. But yeah, the only other option, but that would be if that is A, B, C as said, and then we would be followed by a huge decline, because then we would be looking at something like 1, 2, and then wave 3 down. Yeah, like not sure how likely that is, but either way, I think like the risk reward ratios. I mean, I think Novavax is the smarter play overall, or based on Elliott Wave 3, really more interesting play. But in Nvidia, even if there would be a scenario where we get like a huge decline, obviously not in a day, but like over weeks, then still one can have the stop loss either at 114 or at the 100 mark, 195. So the risk is limited. Yes, it's still whatever 30% or so, or 25% risk, but yeah, it's not like there's 100% risk or so involved. So yeah, I don't think it would be a bad trade, to be honest. Although I would expect, considering that we have here the trend channel that marks our base channel, so that we get our correction here. Maybe it doesn't reach the 38.2. Maybe it all happens in a smaller scale here, and then we get our push through the channel. Yeah, next couple of days will show if that's the case or not. SMCI, yeah, looks like we actually really finished the correction. Again, we have multiple possible patterns here as well, as I covered in an episode, I think last week was that already. But one potential one would be that this is ABC, where we retrace 28.4%. I'm not happy with the 28.4%, but that would mark wave A and wave C. So wave C would be 161.8% of wave A, which fits also nicely. So there is a chance that the correction here is over and we're going up from here. The other option is that this is in some form 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we get a wave 5 push down. Technically, one could enter here with a stop loss at the low here at 37.30. So yeah, but it's still 20% risk. Upside, however, in that case would be somewhere in the 200% range. So yeah, like risk reward ratio is not too bad, but considering that there is an alternative labeling, that's still possible, because we would expect to retrace at least 38.2% overall. I probably would stay out of it. I'm just saying that technically there would be a pattern that we'll see here that could be used to justify a long position. But again, I would not do it right now. And what happened in Wheeler? Getting another break to the bottom. So yeah, there we exceeding what we actually thought is going to happen. It's a little bit weird, because we have here our 61.8% retracement line, and we barely broke it. I mean, we went a little bit below. And then here we got a 5-wave impulse up. So we would only expect a corrective pattern and not a retracement that far. Yeah? I think Wheeler might be actually yeah, I mean, there's still too much room. Yeah. So let's actually check for a second. Yeah, I don't think an entry makes sense at this point, because we would need to have our stop loss at 671. So we would have also 30-something% risk. And yeah, and we don't have a very nice corrective pattern here. If this would be visually a very nice 3-wave move, I would say, yes, let's do something there, or that at least consider it a good entry. But considering how this looks, it's possible that it's just going to be a similar move like what we saw here. Oh, sorry guys. Oh. So that we just eventually will break further through. Then we'll have to ask ourselves, what the fuck of a correction is this whole thing? Right now, the pattern would still point towards we should get an upwards move, because we have a 5-wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move here. So it's an impulsive move, should be followed by correction, should be followed by next impulsive move. Yeah. Yeah, I don't see other options right now, to be honest. Yeah. But with that spike down to the 78.6 retracement, and basically, let's see how we do here with the target. Yeah, also at least briefly breaking the 161.8 expansion level for this potential ABC, making it more likely a 1, 2, 3 move. Yeah, definitely not a position or an investment I would take the risk on right now. It's a pity. Like, it really looked like that's going to be the beginning of the upwards move. It's still possible, and in which case the 78.6 retracement entry would have been a smart play. But from the overall look, it's just that with that stronger move and especially not clear corrective pattern, it becomes a harder decision to make. Yeah. And moving on, SPY slightly up today. There, our assumptions are either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, slight breakout, wave 4, wave 5. Yeah, I mean, we hit the top in our destination channel, and then in here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's this expansion here. And then we have the next 1, 2. So there should actually be today or tomorrow, there should be strong upside for basically, we're on an 8-hour chart, yeah. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, then wave 5 hasn't finished yet. We haven't even remotely reached the target area here. Yeah. However, then that fifth wave also needs to subdivide into 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think that, yeah, today or tomorrow should be strong upwards movement. Now let's check for a second. SPY. Oh, let's actually circle back. So then we wouldn't expect to reach that in a day, of course. Yeah. So, but big moves would be 39 to, yeah, I mean, that's a very, very big move. Yeah. But let's check 1 second. Our target area would be 587. And if we say today is the 9th, so if we say tomorrow, really that cheap? So if for tomorrow, yeah, actually see if we can. 583, now like let's double check that. So yeah, like no, we're gonna see. So submit that. And let's just pay the $2. So we spent $20 on the whole thing. And yeah, I'll just have to consider to maybe close them out today already. So if I'm wrong, I lose $20 on this, but if I'm right, I might, I'm gonna enter that in option strat 1 second. So long call, SPY for tomorrow, 585 calls, and we got 10 pieces of that for yeah, 0.022. And if we, so today at 10 p.m. I mean, it's probably, I mean, that's really a gamble, yeah. So obviously, a little bit annoying that the chat is, yeah, like not where it should be for me. But so today by, yeah, slightly before market close, 9:58 p.m. If we reach or break-even price would be 585 for tomorrow, yeah. But today, basically 575. Did I miss something? Maybe I overlooked something. Okay, yeah, we have to go up 2 points to be break even. And if we really have a strong, I think I will just ride out the gamble. If we really reach the 583 tomorrow, which would be in this area here. So tomorrow the curve always, no, tomorrow it's different, yeah, obviously. Yeah, may have not been my smartest play. So that might be $20 burned. But from the looks of it, there should be a strong upwards move here to finish that fifth wave, because in that fifth wave, we're potentially in wave 1, 2, 3. Might be wrong, might go the other way, then it's a $20 wasted. Yeah. Now we can, however, double check. There also the $583. We're actually gonna also get some of those.
Water filled.
So that's the 582 call, and 582, 5 pieces for 0.079, so 0.08, yeah. And safe trade. So yeah, so might be in quotes a small gamble asset. So curve now looks like this, and depending on how, we have to check this out before market close today where we're standing, and if there, yeah, like if there are signs that so if the position is at least break even or slightly in plus, but there are signs that there will not be a strong move, then I can just drop it, and otherwise I can just hold it. So there's not going to be, yeah, so we basically risk $50 on the play now. But again, based on the pattern, I mean, it might be wrong, but based on the pattern, we should see a strong move. If that move will get high enough, especially tomorrow, that will be the challenging question here, of course, yeah. So it might make sense to close them out today. But then we should already see their start today, yeah. Anyway, moving on. So SPY does this, and NASDAQ again at the 20,000 area. Similar, although there we have the chance that this is a small 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that we're currently getting a correction, and then we get the next strong move. So visually on the 4-hour chart, I said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just so to have a very small 5-wave impulse, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5, and voila, we are at the minimum target that we expect here. So there is the option that today or tomorrow today it's already slightly red, but that we actually get an ABC correction, that we're looking at a 4-hour chart, so finishes either already today or within the next 2 days, so this week, and then should be followed by more upside. There's also the option, of course, that there's still more room up, but from the looks of it, I would not be as tempted to get into this right now compared to getting into that right now, which again could also be, probably should have double-checked the closer first, yeah, but yeah, it's maybe a little premature. I mean, assume we have something like a 3-wave corrective pattern down here, and then we have something like 1, 2, maybe 3, 4, 5, which means there would be a correction first before we go up, but then it should shoot up tomorrow, in which case my positions would be in the red for today, and then tomorrow it would be, it should then get green, yeah, or still expire worthless, because it's quite a way to go up here, of course, yeah. yeah, like confirmation for that upwards move, I would say we reach once we break the 574.97. So once we break that, we have kind of, I mean, then it could still be a flat correction where wave B is making a new high and wave C is then crushing down. But with breaking the 574.97, we have kind of a confirmation that we indeed are now in another impulsive wave up. And then the question is just, will it go up high enough today or not? Yeah. And with that, can switch back here. 8 hours. No, yeah, 8 hours works. Yeah. And yeah, it's then the issue with the option trading is obviously always the timing. Yeah. So again, the chat disappeared because it's not on the screen. Yeah. But anyway, no new messages. So the issue is always the timing. So if the pattern tells us, okay, we will go up, then or I can actually optimize it further. Yeah. So if we say SPY, 1 second. Yeah, I know I'm rumbling. So if we say 587.65, yeah, so is our minimum target here. Yeah. And if we say that they're actually quite a good risk-reward ratio trades on that assumption. So for example, getting the 585 call here would have $22.50 risk right now. And yeah, then depending on how high we go, of course, yeah. Quite a good risk-reward ratio. If I make this further, then it probably becomes expensive. Yeah, then it's like, and the risk-reward ratio doesn't stay that good. So what would be a reasonable time assumption? So here wave 1 basically took 3 days. So, or 6, 7, 8, 9 till 11. So let's say 4 days. And then we had from 11 to 30, 20 days. So if we expect here also 20 days, it would be 22nd of October. So if we pick 22nd of October, yeah, then the premium would be higher. So then it would be basically $244 premium for the option. And the payout would be, depending on how high we go, basically 100%. So if we hit the target price, it would be $421 payout. If we go higher in the time frame, it could be higher. Yeah. I think the short-term gamble here is like more attractive because for the $250 premium that I would have to pay to get one call option for the, what did I say, 22nd of October, I can actually on 5 different days, I mean, assuming the premiums stay the same, make a similar play like now. And as for safe trades, there we have that. So 5 times this and 10 times that. Yeah. So as for the payout, if it were to get a strong enough push, we can see that if we were to manage to reach the whatever 583 mark, then the payout would already be, what's that, like 15 times the $50 I risk. So definitely not too bad. Anyway, I think with that, we actually covered everything for today as well. And I'm going to go back to setting up our email marketing stuff. Olga, Akashi, thanks for stopping by. Anyone who lurked, also thanks for stopping by. Going to be interesting. So at least other than always waiting for bigger developments, going to be interesting to see in tomorrow's stream if those 2 small gambles here are still alive or if they're going to die along the way. And obviously in Novavax, it's going to be interesting to see if maybe we already see, last thing to check. Yeah, let's zoom in again. Yeah, we already broke through, so we'll have to, in Novavax, consider what alternative could there be the case. Either is the wave end now down here, or the whole correction here behaves differently. Even though we only broke through briefly, but it still makes a difference. So because that would have been the nicer area for the turnaround, and with that here, the pattern on the smaller scale changes a little bit. On the bigger scale, it doesn't really change a lot. Anyway, so I think it's going to be interesting to see. Let's ask actually the Magic 8 Ball also for a change. So will SPY rally tomorrow? As I see it, yes. Yeah, it's funny. Even though it's supposedly random, yeah, it always gives, or 99, so not even 50%, but 90% of the time, it gives me the answer that I'm looking for. If it's right, is a different question, yeah, but at least it's the answer I'm looking for. So anyway, thanks for stopping by. Olga, Akashi, have a great day. Everyone else also have a great day, and then see you all tomorrow with another episode of Daily Market Master.